So, unfortunately, or fortunately, we don't know, we cannot understand why things happen the way they do in our life. Um, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And even though we don't understand the happenings, yet they still happen the way they want to happen. And we may have a subconscious belief that says, if I only understand why things happen the way they happen in my life, somehow I'll be able to interfere with the happenings and mold them into the way I desire them to be, mold them into something that fulfills my fantasies about how my life should be. And that's the subconscious belief behind wanting to understand everything. It's because we believe that by understanding reality, we are going to be able to interfere with it and change it. When the truth is actually that the happenings in life, they all happen by God's will, by the will of the divine. And everything that happens is God's will. There is nothing that happens and is not God's will. And the more you realize this, the more you understand that it's not about trying to change the unfolding of your life, but rather is more about allowing the unfolding to happen without you resisting it. That's the lesson of acceptance. That's the lesson of humility. Because humility comes when you actually realize that you don't have control over what happens in your life. You may think that you're responsible for certain things in your life, but if you look closer, if you look deeper, you realize that everything you have ever done in your life, you've always thought it was the best decision because of the intelligence or the knowledge or the wisdom that you had at that stage. So nothing could be different than the way it was. You see, whatever is meant to happen and the way it's meant to happen, it will happen. And nothing can stop that. No amount of contemplation and understanding and effort can actually change what's going to happen, because everything that happens again is the will of the divine. Then what's left? Well, what's left is you accepting that and you living in harmony with the path that you are meant to walk in this life. There is nothing else that's left to do, because everything that you need to do, you will do, because the life force energy within you will stimulate you to do certain things. But that is still destiny unfolding through you. So it's not that you sit and say, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just sit here my entire life and don't do anything. Some people may be able to do that, but that's their destiny. For most people, we will be stimulated by our life force and we will be moved to participate in certain activities in life. And that's how destiny unfolds. Because the divine works through every single thing. The divine is taking shape and form into all the manifestations you see in this creation, and it's playing the game of existence. How is that realization beneficial? Well, you see, realizing that destiny is all there is, while on the human level, it looks like a spontaneous unfolding of events, spontaneous unfolding of the constant present moment. This is how it appears to be, but on a deeper level, it's what we call destiny. What's meant to happen will happen, and what's meant not to happen will not happen, regardless of the effort we put into something. How is that helpful? Well, you see, it takes the pressure off. It gives you freedom to participate in activities and things that you actually enjoy without you having to concern yourself about, let's say, the final outcome of things. How will this activity benefit my life? That's a natural question that we all ask before embarking on some journey. And that's a very natural thing to ask, because if it wouldn't bring you any benefit, then why would you do it? Oh, that's practical thing. We do things because they're beneficial, and we avoid things because they're harmful to us. So that's natural. That's cool. But if you realize that everything you need to experience in this lifetime, you will experience. You cannot miss it. No chance. You cannot miss the so called purpose you came here to fulfill. You cannot miss that. No chance. Even if it seems like you've missed it, that's the entire experience. That's what was meant to happen. And then something more fulfilling will take its place, so to say. So, this realization that everything that needs to happen will happen, and you cannot essentially control how life will unfold, gives you that freedom, and sense of peace, that there is something greater in control. And this is not just to give you some false kind of peace. This is the reality of the truth of the existence that we live in. This is not some saying or some something that I'm saying just to comfort you. This is not for comfort purposes. Why I'm saying it? I'm saying it because I've seen it, I've realized it. I've seen that everything that happens will happen, and I cannot change it. The best thing I can do is to assist what existence wants to do through me, what existence wants to, how existence wants to participate as this human form that I am in the play of life. The best thing I can do is to assist that. And when it's going in a direction, even though I may not know what the final outcome will be, but I feel that this is right thing to do, I fully participate in it. And there may not be seeming benefits. I may not see what benefits there are to following this trajectory, but I'm 100% sure that there are positive things on the path, because it feels right. Because I know deep in my heart that this is what I'm meant to do right now. This is the so-called my life purpose. Now, your life purpose is not one single thing. Is not it may be, but it may also not be. It may be that you have different life purposes for different stages of your life. For right now, this is your purpose. You need to do that. The way you recognize that is you feel drawn to it. You feel drawn to certain activities, to speak to certain people, to engage in certain conversations, to watch certain videos, to read certain books. You know, this entire existence is your life purpose. You living this life without resistance, allowing the natural unfolding of the present moment to be the way it is without you trying to change it. That is your main life purpose. And that's a life purpose that's equal for all beings. It's a universal life purpose. Then there is a individual life purpose, like um, be a musician, be an artist, be an entrepreneur, be um, someone who supports their family. This is the individual expression of life purpose. But the universal life purpose is to experience this life to the fullest without resisting the unfolding. That's so essential. And it's easy to not resist the unfolding when it feels nice. When things happen that you enjoy, it's easy to not resist it. But what are you doing when life is unfolding in a way that you don't enjoy? For example, to make it practical, something happens that causes a lot of stress into your life. Now you have two choices here. You either resist it and you fight against it, or you see that this is what needs to happen. You accept that and you move with that and you see where it takes you. Why is this happening? There is, I'm sure 100%, there is something that I will benefit from this entire event that causes me stress. You may grow spiritually through it. You may grow psychologically through it, emotionally. You may mature emotionally. So every single thing that happens is to your own benefit. But you cannot see this while you're in the midst of the storm. That's the thing. You can only see things after they have taken place. That's the thing. So if you, let's say, are experiencing suffering, some inner turmoil that you're feeling, and it's a constant thing, it's like it doesn't matter where you go, that inner suffering is always there. There is something that is happening internally that will eventually lead you to a more fulfilling place. And it's hard to believe that. How could this intense inner suffering lead to something good? Well, suffering is purification. Suffering removes, it dissolves, it destroys ego. Because ego is essentially what creates suffering. I'm talking about emotional and psychological suffering. I'm not talking about physical suffering. We should make the difference. Physical suffering, someone is torturing you or something like that. Or you've broken your arm and now it's painful. And you're suffering because of that. That's not the suffering I'm referring to. I'm referring to emotional, psychological, spiritual suffering. That is a deep purification process. It dissolves all the false fantasies that you have about life and it makes you face reality. Because it's only when you face reality the way it is, right here, right now, whether you like it or not. That's the only way to become free. If you keep avoiding reality or you keep fighting it, you keep fighting what is, there is no way you can become free. And what does free mean? It means freedom from the constant need to manipulate and change some aspects of reality that you don't like. Like instead of you flowing with the constant unfolding of the present moment in your life, you try to take that and pull it to the complete opposite direction and mold it into something else. We do that because we believe that there is something wrong with the present moment. Whatever it is that I'm experiencing right now, there must be something wrong with it because I don't feel nice about it. I don't feel good about it. And that belief is what makes us try to change what is. If we could see while we're in the midst of it that what is cannot be changed, and you cannot change the unfolding of the constant present moment in your life. In other ways put, you cannot change destiny. You cannot change what's meant to happen, what's meant to be. This can't be changed. So if you truly see that while you're in the midst of chaos, let's say, you're going to have a greater, a deeper sense of acceptance of what is, of what reality is. Because it's that resistance to reality itself, the way it is right here, right now. This is what creates 99% of the internal, emotional, psychological, and spiritual suffering. If you were not resisting the present moment, if you were not resisting what your reality is right here, right now, there wouldn't be that suffering, at least not to the extent that it is. See? And very often, we may not even realize that we're suffering. It's like there is something within that suffering, but we're avoiding it. It's like this constant dissatisfaction with your experience of life. That is the suffering I'm referring to. It's dissatisfaction with how your life is. That's the suffering. If you could only accept that the way things are right now are the way they're meant to be, and you may not understand why things happen the way they happen, you may never understand it. Can you still trust the greater intelligence of existence, the greater intelligence that created all of creations, the mountains, the waters, the all the creatures, the trees, the rocks, the insects, human beings, animals, this camera, the phone that you're watching on, or the TV, like existence, great intelligence has is manifesting constantly itself in this creation. Can you trust that intelligence with everything you've got? Can you trust that whatever it is that you're going through, there is nothing wrong with it? This is exactly what you need to go through. Can you have faith in that? Can you trust that? See? If you can, then the process of letting go of resistance has been initiated, and that is a process. It's not something you do in an instant. You cannot say, I let go of resistance and now I'm free. This is not how it happens for most people. There are some rare occasions where there are moments of enlightenment, and yeah, that exists too. But for most people, it's a gradual process of letting go of what you believe and feel like reality should be like. When you let go of your fantasies to what reality should look like, the way you desire reality to be, you can actually see reality for what it is. And you see all the variety of things that exist in reality, which means good things, evil things, neutral things, and everything on that scale, from evil to good. Nothing is inherently 100% good in this life, and nothing is inherently 100% bad. You see, like the yin and yang sign, you know that there is some light within the darkness, that small dot, and there is some darkness within the light. That's the reality, the truth of this existence, of this life, of this physical plane that we live in. It's the constant circle movement of good, evil, good, evil, good, evil. The constant game between the two. This is what this physical plane is. Can you accept that? Can you make peace with that? That your life will never be perfect according to your expectations, according to your fantasy, according to how you want life to be. Even when you feel down, when you're suffering, when you're in pain, emotional pain, psychological, spiritual, can you accept that this is it? And nothing needs to be changed. You don't need to change anything. There is nothing wrong. Sometimes you just need to go through things, and they just pass. They come and then they go without you having to do anything. I'm not saying that there aren't situations where you need to change something. These situations exist, but then if that's what's required, a change, a practical change in your life, you will be moved from within to take some action and do some change. But if you're in a situation where you're not moved to change something, you're just in this situation where you can't do anything, you just need to be in it, it cannot be changed. Well, that's a deep lesson of acceptance of what is, and a lesson of learning to embrace the constant unfolding of the present moment without the constant need for understanding it. I'm not saying that contemplating what is not beneficial. This is what I do a lot. This is why I'm able to make these videos. That's for sure beneficial. But don't think that you can figure it out 100%, because simply your mind cannot see so far, because you don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes, in one day, in 1 year. You don't know. You see, so you cannot figure it out. What you need to do is you need to trust. You need to have faith in your own path. You need to trust the great intelligence that has created you. It runs in your blood. It makes your mind think. It makes your heart beat. It's in everything, is everything. You need to trust that and have connection to that. You know, the primal tribes, They, back in the days, like the way they portrayed them in movies and books and so on, they used to have great connection to existence itself. They weren't necessarily calling it God or the universe or the divine, but they felt that there is something, there is intelligence in the air. This entire world could not happen in an accident. It cannot be created in an accident because there is so much intelligence in everything. And they had great connection to that force. And that's how they found meaning in their life. That's how they were able to trust existence. The force that sustains you, that gave you life, that gave life to everything, is running in your DNA, and it's always assisting you. So we need to pay respect to that and have deep connection to. You could call it God, you could call it the light, you could call it the universe, you could call it existence, you could call it whatever you like. It's simply intelligence itself that runs in everything, and we need to have deep connection to that. And that's how you get revelations. That's how you get downloads, realizations about this reality, about truth, about everything basically. Without that connection to existence, to life, to God, to the great intelligence, you're bound to be lost, always losing your way and always struggling. It's not said that you, if you have deep connection to existence and the great intelligence, that you will not struggle or you will not lose your way. That's part of the journey. But there is going to be something within you that still trusts even in the darkest moments of your life. And that trust will give you peace in these situations, in these stages of your life. So trust the great intelligence and know that it knows way more than you know. It, because it's everything. And you, as this limited human form, this individual sense of being, you can simply not know what the great intelligence knows. So the great intelligence knows far more, is far more than this human form, this human mind. So it's crucial that we trust it, because it's only that way that I have found that you cannot actually resist the present moment. You can accept it, embrace it, and remember that nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. Everything is always happening according to the will of the great intelligence. It cannot be changed. The best you can do is accept that, cooperate with that, assist that, and you see that that feels right. That feels freeing. It feels peaceful, because you're assisting existence itself. You're not fighting against it. So yeah, we don't understand why things happen, yet they still happen, and they will keep happening regardless of whether we understand it or not. So you don't really need to understand everything. Only one thing you need to understand: there is great intelligence and you can trust that 100%. That's the only realization that you basically need. Everything else, if it's interesting to you, you you get downloads, you get realizations, you start seeing things more clearly automatically by you being interested in these things. That's how the divine calls you on the path. It it has created that desire for truth within you, so it's calling you to reveal to you more truth and more realization. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.